Here's a video of all 4 of my steps working before I break each one down. This is a video of my first step in action. It represents Wally exploring the planet. The weight unwinds from the pole, knocking over the weight on the lever, triggering the next step. The weight from the previous step knocks over the cup, which allows the Rubik's Cube to fall on the switch for my light. This models the sun coming up and triggers the next step. The lever is positioned so that the right end of it falls onto the light switch of my light when the left end is knocked over by the weight that unwinds from the pole. The weight on the right is a Rubik's Cube like he uses in the movie because I thought it was fun to incorporate. The weight on the left is just a cup filled with some coins so that it's heavy enough to weight down that side of the lever. When the lever falls, this turns on the light, indicating the sun coming up on a new day, and it starts the step where Wally charges. Here I'm just showing sort of an overview of the next step where you can see the light comes on, Wally starts to charge, and he moves and pushes the wedge underneath the solar panel. This is the step controlled by my Arduino, and it starts with the photoresistor. When the light comes on, the photoresistor, which is located just below Wally's eyes, senses the higher value of light and starts the code. After the code is started, the red LED comes on, followed by the 3 green LEDs in succession to show that he's charging up. Once he's charged, he starts to move and the solar panel falls off. This models him completing his charging and putting his solar panel away to start the day. As he moves, he pushes the wedge forward underneath the solar panel, triggering the next step. From this angle, you can see the housing unit I created for the Arduino. You can see that the photoresistor is just below his eyes so they can still see the light, but isn't super obvious, and that the LEDs are set forward so you can see them, so you can see that he's charging. All of the wiring, though, is hidden behind Wally so that when you view him front on, you can't see it. In this angle, you can better see how I make Wally move. I started by disassembling a remote control car I found in my basement for the motor, but I also found a moment switch in there, which I've used in this circuit. I wired a circuit with the motor from the remote control car, a AA battery, and the moment sensor from the remote control car. I used some wire I had laying around and soldered it in place to keep the joints secure. I then positioned the moment sensor underneath the arm for the servo motor so that when the servo motor goes down about 70 degrees, it's pressing the moment sensor, causing the circuit to close and the car to move forward. And then when the servo motor returns back to the 90-degree position, it's no longer holding down the moment sensor and the car stops. Once the LEDs are done lighting up, I have the servo motor press down on the moment sensor for about 3 seconds, which is just enough time for Wally to ditch the solar panel and press the wedge up into place under the big solar panel. This triggers my final step. My final step has marble going down the face of the solar panel, down a track, and onto a pressure sensor starting up a fan. Fan blows off any dust to allow the solar panel to function more efficiently. To stop the marbles from rolling down too early, I put down a bead of hot glue to create a ridge, so that way the marbles wouldn't roll down until there was a fairly large angle. The solar panel is slightly elevated from the rest of my machine by binders underneath the green screen, so that way that the marbles made it all the way to the end of the track to my pressure sensor. The final part of this step also involves another remote control car that I took apart. I created a simple pressure sensor using 2 pieces of aluminum foil, and I connected ground to the bottom and power to the top, and so when the marbles roll down and land on it, they press the 2 together, closing the circuit and causing the wheels to start spinning on the car. I use Legos to create a fan on the wheel of the car, and so when the car wheel starts spinning, the fan starts spinning, and this blows the dust off of the solar panel, allowing it to be more efficient. The dust from the solar panel is then collected by James in the next step.